What I have been working on so that I can post it is the house assignment. Since nobody's asking me to look at their portfolio, we'll go past that. Let's go to the house assignment and talk about it. Because this has been posted. Hey, not that. Hey, stop reading that. Uh-oh, my alarm's going off. Hold on. Oh, it's 6 o'clock. That's why. That means the dog's pacing, wanting to eat. Where is my dinner? I forgot, what did I just say, the house assignment? It's right here, but I don't see it.
Oh, looks like
Did it close? It must have closed. Wow.
This means the housing assignment is canceled.
It's already on Blackboard. Hang on, you guys. Oh. Here we go, here we go. All right. Is there anybody that wasn't here when this was presented last week? This is the first time you're hearing it? Just 2 of you, that's it? Everybody else knows about it? 3? Okay, well. It says there's only 3 of you. I'm going to go a little faster because I can't remember if I left this on the video or not. Maybe I will this time. All right, we'll start the video here. Pause. And house assignment. Oh, what the heck? We'll start the, oh, you got it. We'll start the video here. House assignment, all right? Here we go. Here's the big deal. It's due April 15th. Today's the 3rd. So you got 12 days. Well, that seems like a short amount of time. This is that one, for those that weren't here, this is that assignment. I told you there's going to be 2 this semester. The car one, very similar situation. You have to do it right to get a grade. This isn't about, I'm handing this in even though I don't think it's right. To get a score, it has to be completed correctly, without any flaws, just like the car assignment was. What I fear is, even though I described it last week, nobody's emailed me and say, hey, this is either easier or harder than I thought it was. This is the first time I've ever put the word, find a home whose advertised price is less than 2 times the 2018 state equalized value, sometimes called the assessed value, depending on what tax webpage you go to. Every semester before this, it's always been find a house that's at least 5% below 2 times the value. Or find a house, well, back in like 2010-11, when I started this exact assignment, I put it together, it was like find a house that's 20% below 2 times the state equalized value, because the crash had taken place and the tax numbers are always behind the economy. So they were using state equalized value and assessed values that were kind of pre-crash, but looking at homes for sale that were being almost given away. 2010-11, they were giving homes away. So when we get to the home check, and you're going to hear me say this several times, I might as well implant it in your mind right now. If there's anything in this world that will encourage you or motivate you to say, when I'm making more money on my whole life, which is your first job out of college for most of you, when I'm making more money on my whole life, I am going to save knowing that there's going to be another house crash in the future, and they're going to be giving away houses. And there's going to be a bunch of them where it is a 99.9% chance of making real money off it, maybe even tax-free. So I need to save because the only way to buy it is with cash. And that's why nobody's buying that home, because they can't get a loan. That's the perfect home to find. A home that you know can make money. It's in the perfect area. And you have the cash sitting aside waiting for this day to come. And that's what's going to give you that extra boost to your retirement. Because some of those homes I just described, you're going to make, what I found that almost exactly what I just described, if I sold it right now, I would make, I'm almost there, hang on, 3 times my investment, tripling my money. Okay? And you will never find anything the rest of your life where you have such huge odds in your favor of doing something like this with the money. So I threw as much money as I could get my hands on these houses. I got 2 left to sell, and every one of them have paid off, except for one that may not pay off because it's in the city of Flint. Okay, that's the badness. The lesson is you always want to pick in an area where before a crash takes place, where houses were appreciating, gaining value the fastest. Because after the crash, they're giving houses away, and the area where appreciation was happening the fastest is the one that comes back first and starts having the gain in values again. And then all the others follow, and then all. And that's what's happening right now out there. These little pockets are having more than 10% a year gain in value right now. That's unbelievable. 10% a year is a big gain in value for a house. And it's like literally risk-free in a way. Because you invested so little into it because you took advantage of another thing that's going to happen in your life. I'll be almost dead. I'll be almost dead, but you're all going to have it. And you must prepare for it. You're going to look long-term. All right, I'm working on my retirement, You even have to be prepared to say, if I need this money in my retirement for an opportunity I cannot pass up, can I borrow against my retirement? Find that out in advance. And that's when you're going to take this retirement. You've been saving for, let's say it takes 20 years from now. And you've accumulated $200,000. You want to be able to take as much of that as you can that won't interfere with your life and buy some houses when they're giving them away. And rent them out. You're going to make a little money while you rent it out. And if you don't have a family, go move into it at least 2 years before you're going to sell it. And then sell it. And because you lived in it for 2 years, all the money you made off it is tax-free. No income tax. Federal. No state. No local. It's one of the few times in your whole life, there's only 2 or 3 ways to make money tax-free, and the house is the big one. And then you move out of that one, and you go to the other one you bought, and you live in it for 2 years. And you sell that one. And all the money you make off it is completely tax-free. That's like an extra 30-something% in your pocket from, compared to people who are investing in regular investments. Go ahead, Brian.
Can you show us the SE value, the SEV value?
Yeah, let's do one.
Is the website working?
For example, let's say we went on Zillow and found some house. And so we copied and pasted this tax web page that you're required to use. So if you read the whole assignment, it has to be in Genesee County, but outside the city. And then you go down to this. Remember, this wasn't working last time we were talking about it. I just remembered.
Yeah, that's what I want to see.
This is where you want to go, and whatever the street name is, only put the first word. Don't put the number, don't put a second word, don't put the word lane or road or street. I'm saving you a ton of time. This thing is a very, it must be so old it just doesn't know how to work right, because you'll keep getting no results, unless you just, sometimes it works, sometimes it won't, but just the first name. Anybody live in Genesee County that's willing to tell me the first name of the street they work or live on so I can grab some houses? Yep, hit it.
Perry.
What is it called? Perry?
Perry, yeah.
Perry. Okay. So I'm just putting Perry. It will bring up every house in Genesee County with the word Perry in it. Do not think these numbers are in numerical order as if a smaller number to a big number. This, for some reason, goes just on that first digit, no matter how long the number is. Just that first digit. So even if this one's a much bigger number than that one, it's only on these first digits, so it's right next to each other. So just go by the digit. Let's pretend we're looking at the Abigail house here, David and Wolf. That is WF, initials maybe. WF and David, who live on Perry Road. Unless there's a house specifically you want to look at. Paula? Was there a specific house you want to look at? Is this okay?
Yeah, that's
All right. So we found this house for sale. We're I like to put it in a new window so I can go back to the search. We're going there, and it says, oh, it's in the city. We can't pick one in the city. Hang on. Is there any houses in Perry that is not in the city? You can't tell by looking at this. Ah, that was Perry Street, so we're going to Perry Road. Jesse Tester. Let's test this. Right here. Stop it. All right, here we go. Oh, it's an Atlas. Okay, we'll click an Atlas. Oh, wait, I got to remember the address. I lost it. Tester 10080 Perry Road. Go here. We'll hit this. Go to Atlas. We got to start all over. Let's just put right here, Perry. Again, one word. Go down here to Tester. What was it? Something, something. Okay, we're in where there's no number, so I'm going to jump up here. But it was in the one, so don't go too far. Those were all empty lots, probably owned by somebody, or no, even those are numbers. I don't know what that was. We went way too far. Oh, this is road too, so we got to go back. What's going on? We were on page 1, really? So I guess go down, is that what it is? Yeah. What's going on? Isn't it 100? Oh, these are in numerical order, like a normal numerical order. So we gotta go to 10,000 because that's 7,000. That's what's going on. Only the city of Genesee counties would be, skipping pages here. Those are not. Look at, it's already hard. Is there more? No, no more. That doesn't make sense. What was the address? Did I screw it up? Is it a street instead of road? What was it? Let's
It was road.
10080. All right, let's just go. We're going to anybody's now. Are we in Atlas? What just happened there? Did I close it? There. Isn't this where we were? Is there another one that I can't see?
I think you closed the tab.
Did I close it?
Yeah.
How crazy is that? Okay, it's kind of, let's just go. Give me an, here we go. We're going to another road.
Do you
Give
want
me another road that's for sure not in the city of Flint. Give me Travis, what were you just saying?
McLean,
How do you spell it?
McLean,
I-A-N? A-I-N?
EAN.
E-A-N. Is this the one in Fenton off of Fenton Road or off of?
No, it's Burton.
Leroy? Okay. Okay, you don't care what number, or do you have one in mind?
And if you want my own address, you can try.
You wanna see details on that house?
Sure.
Is it, who owns it?
I do. I bought it in November.
You don't mind if I see how much you paid for it, with the tax, all that stuff, because it's gonna have a whole bunch of detail.
Don't
It's
bother me.
public information,
Uh,
just nobody knows to look.
20.
I always like to look at what my neighbors pay for their house, that's my favorite.
That's not problematic.
It's not, it's all open it's just the Open Information Act.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, what was the number?
2057.
Okay, going to 2057, look at Travis's name's right there. And he's at his own house. You're an old man. Oh, we gotta go to Burton, I forgot the name of the road already.
McLean, McLean.
Clean, no, you sure, did I spell it wrong? McLean?
Is it case sensitive?
I can't imagine, but let's try it. M, small c, capital L-E-A-N, is that correct?
Yep.
There's no houses. You're gonna believe this. I've never had.
You're in Atlas.
Oh,
Oh, and there's the Ferry Road.
okay, hang on. Okay, so we went to a different page. There's Burton. Now let's follow this. Okay, is this Burton?
It's
Still
still
says
showing
Atlas.
Atlas.
Why is that?
It's doing it to me too.
So we can't do Burton? In real life, we don't even come close to this main show, you guys. Oh my God, what happened? We gotta go forward now. Okay, let's try a third road and let's get out of this. Look at, where time is just flying by. Give me a third road. Hey, I'm sorry.
Do Hill Road.
Someone mentioned
Hill Road, okay, let's do Hill. Let's get up just one at random now, and I'm leaving this window open. Oh, come on. Okay, here we go. Here we go. James and Dana Lapkin? Lapkin? Isn't that character in Saturday Night Live? And wasn't that Lapkin? No? Okay. Here we go. The state equalized value, I gotta step back, 162.3. The assessed value is the same thing, that's why it's the exact same number. The taxable value is less, kind of a gap there. You remember me telling you why you have a gap between the the state equalized or assessed value and the taxable value? Why is there a gap? We are recording. Seth.
Because taxes can only increase so much every year.
Taxes only increase so much, so what do you know about the owners of this house then? They've been there a little while, that's what creates that gap. And as you're a buyer, you need to know that that gap exists. Because when you're budgeting how much house you can afford, the payment, the taxes, the insurance, you gotta realize that the following year, when you buy it, taxes automatically, the taxable value, which taxes are based on, automatically jump up to the assessed value the following year from when you buy it, and the taxes jump up with it. You'll easily be able to find out what the current taxes are from the owners that are selling it, and you'll go, okay, this is going to jump up, let's see, 36,000 divided by 128 is 24%, multiply, add 24% to the taxes they're paying, and you can estimate then how much your tax is going to be, 24% higher than what they're paying. Most people only look at what the current sellers are paying in taxes, and they think that's going to be their tax. They don't realize the jump up's gonna take place the following year. And so they try to buy as much house as they can get, to max out, this is what we can afford, no more. And then all of a sudden, the following year, wait, this was all we could afford, why are the taxes going up 25%? Because you bought a house from someone who owned it a long time, and the taxes in Michigan, once you own a house, your taxes can only go up slow until you sell it. And then the new person, they start at a new spot, which happens to be based on the market value. Where is this at? Swartz Creek, which is Gaines Township assigns these assessed values each year, and based on their calculations, on what the average prices of houses have gone in the area, that's how this changes. This represents half of the market value. So how much would this house be worth according to the stabilized value or assessed value in the market?
It would have to be sales price of 80,000, right?
No, that's half of it. 162 plus 160, $325,000 this house is the market value according to the Gaines Township. And each year they reevaluate and they apply the same math to all the houses in Gaines Township, except slight changes based on what pocket you might be in. But all the houses around your house, if they're all similar, been built around a similar amount of time, and the values are around, are going up and down around the same, this goes up or down the same percent for everyone. Right, now,
So if we were to pick this house and it was for sale,
It'd
for
have to be-
$80,000, it would count.
if it wouldn't count. Anything for sale for 80,000 is supposed to be 325,000. There's no way it can fit the parameters for this assignment, because there's either gonna be floors missing, foundation broken, something's wrong with it, and we're either gonna see the pictures or in the description, or it's a short sale, or it's some kind of auction. Can't do auctions, because auction prices that you see on the ads are always much lower than what it will really sell for. It's not the market value. Sometimes it's just a starting price, or just so low to attract people to at least bid on it. There's no way. But if you found this house and it were for sale for $324,000, which would be just slightly under what it's 2 times this, it qualifies for this assignment. As long as it's ready to move in from the pictures and description, and it's for sale. You send me the link to the for sale. You send me the link to this. I'll multiply, and you got the formula. Say, I think the formula, we gotta go back. 2 times that. Take 2 times the state equalized value or assessed value, they're the same thing. Subtract the advertised price, so 2 times would be 325,000. The ad says 324,000, which equals 1,000. Then divide it by 2 times. So we're dividing it by the 325,000, and that's the percent that the asking price is below the benchmark. It will be a real small percent probably, because it's going to be kind of hard to find a house for sale below 2 times that state equalized value, because you're using 2018. So actually we're hitting a time where houses start to jump on for sale, because everybody knows that when it starts getting warm outside, that tons of people want to get out of the house and start looking for a house to buy. They even started thinking about wanting a house to buy. They usually start looking in the spring. As soon as spring starts getting warm, people are out shopping for houses. And so you'll see inflation in for sale prices, because they know that the shoppers are out there, and people are trying to get a premium, so they'll have the prices. And they'll start lowering them as they, as a little bit of time goes by. I want to tell you, every house I've ever sold, I've never used a realtor. So I just want to let you know that you can do it without a realtor. There's actually a ton of places in Genesee County and some websites that have step-by-step process to do it yourself and not have to have a realtor. So you save a normal 6% is what you would end up having to pay, because the seller pays the realtor for both realtors. The one representing the buyer, the one representing you. The seller pays them both. 3% is the usual case. If it's a real expensive house, like 300 and what was the one we just looked at, probably then only 5%, 2.5 and 2.5. And the lowest usually realtors would ever go, maybe the house is like a $400,000 house or more, is 4%, 2%, and 2%. That's the lowest you could probably negotiate to, because you're trying to sell a house that's higher in price than you. And so I'm saving somewhere between 4 and 6%. And I just sold my parents' condo for $233,000, and I did it myself. So the savings was, most realtors were offering we'll sell it for you, 6%. One went down to 4. Maybe one was 5, but all the rest were saying 6%. So let's use 5. 5% of that is how much was saved by not using a realtor. And I want to tell you, that's where the economy's heading. People are becoming more, I can take care of it myself situation because they realize how much money this is. Well, let's see, 10% is 23,000. So half of 23,000 is 11,000 something. $11,000. Don't be wrong. It was a pain in the butt to clean up right before a walkthrough, because I was staying there for a little while. And that's a pain in the butt, but well worth saving half of $23,000. And that's how good Zillow has become, because that was the only place I listed, was Zillow. Okay. Everybody got a good idea? This is posted. You can read through it, just like the car assignment. A link to the house that's for sale, a link to that tax webpage that's showing the SEV value, and your little mathematical formula showing what %. Now, if you find this project hard, let me know. But I'm not changing it at first unless you're finding it too easy. I might change it right away. But if you find it hard, you can say, oh, I found a house that's, 1% above 2 times the stabilized value, and I want to give up. You hand that in, get an 8, you can get it over with. But this whole thing's like the car. Every house you go to see in real life, you're going to feel emotion about it. And when you get it down to 2 houses, compare it to a benchmark, and you'll go, one's a better value, and that should then push you towards which one to really buy. It's all about finding the best value. Because that emotion you feel, I love this house, gotta have it, is you in your mind going, oh, look at when my family and friends come over, how impressive this looks. That's kind of what most people think. And then no one comes over. But, I don't remember what I was trying to say. I'm trying to say that if you compare it to a benchmark, the house really should be about, this holds my junk, I take a nap there, I clean up. You spend so much time at work in those first 10 years of your career. I mean, you're looking at 50 to 60 hours if you're in the kind of business that I hope you're in. It will pay off. And so I want to make money on it. That's how you should look at it. And you say, which one's a better value? The one, they're both in an area that was appreciating before the crash took place, or is appreciating. Which one, compared to the benchmark, would gain you the biggest return on your investment? That's what this is doing. Find, using the benchmark, which one will gain the biggest return for you. Go ahead, Brett.
You'll be posting houses that people already turned into, right?
Yes, it will say houses already turned in, yes, just like the cars. Yep. I think that's right here. Look at previous semester. Let's go to just a year ago. So it looks like this, houses already turned in. So all of these houses, I think theirs had to be 5% maybe below 2 times the equalized value, and there's 2 sections. That's why you're seeing so many. So that's what it'll look like. I just keep adding houses, just like the cars I did, and just keep throwing it up there so you know if it's already been turned in. You only have to hand in 28 houses. If the instructions, if you can find a house that's priced below, don't forget the house has to be for sale for at least, how much?
70.
Was that what it said? 70,000. That used to be 30, used to be 40, used to be 50, 70,000. So, that almost counts out the whole city of Flint. I think. And I got such a great deal on that Flint house at the time, 45,000. I don't think I can even get 35,000 or 30 for it right now. That's how bad Flint is. Matter of fact, you know how you own a house? Does anybody else own a house? Each year you get this tax statement notifying you, and I think they just got sent out recently, what your new status equalized value is going to be, what your new taxable value is going to be. And all the houses I own that I sold, they're always, after the crash, would go, after they went down to bottom, they would go up. So in the last 4 years, they've been going up, going up, going up. My Flint house went down. When all the other houses are going up, the city of Flint is still going down. And it's supposed to lower your taxes, but somehow or another, the taxes don't seem to be getting lowered that much. Because I'm renting it out, it's not my main residence. By the way, that's a law in, I think, every state, but for sure in Michigan. You have to pay the full property tax and about another half of the property tax, like 1.5, because it's not your main residence. So you're not paying a normal property tax, you have this extra. So if you ever want to become a landlord, make sure to take that into consideration or you're gonna price yourself at a loss. You gotta pay 50% more property tax if it's not your main residence. All right, are we finally gonna get to chapter 5? Is that what's going on? Credit? Credit, that would have been on the list up there. We're going to slide 2, we are. What is credit? It's where you're making arrangements to receive the cash now to do whatever you want to do, whether it's a service or buy something, and you're gonna pay it back in the future. That's what credit is. Now, when I get to this chapter, I'm gonna jump to the number one question I get asked about. Usually, I bet it's on someone's mind, because this is such a common question I get. What affects my credit score, and how do I get it up? I think that's usually a lot of people ask. Here's the things that affect your credit score. Your payment history is about 35% of your score. So you've got, and if you're just out of high school into college, a traditional college student, you probably don't have that much of a payment history because you may never have had a card yet, possibly, a credit card. And I've told you this before, but I want to say it again. The best advice I can give you to raise your score is to take a credit card, either you have, and it's all paid off, or a new one, maybe a 0% card. And you take it and you use it only for things that you have to pay for anyway. You're about to pay for some gas. And you're about to take the cash out of your pocket. Let's say it's $20. Use that credit card for $20. Take that $20, and when you get home, put it, because you used it on the credit card, it's no longer your money, put it where you know it will be when it's time to pay the credit card off. Your cell phone bill just came. You got to pay it anyway. You're about to write a check. Put it on the credit card. Take the money that's in the checking account, put it aside so you don't touch it. It's not your money. The bill comes. Now take that money you put aside that you almost spent, pay the credit card off in full, but keep using it. Watch what happens in 3 to 6 months. You'll see this first jump in your credit score. Do it for another 3 to 6 months. You see even a bigger jump. This is how you raise your credit score, as long as you don't already have a bankruptcy or something like that on there. That makes it tough to raise your credit score, because going in bankruptcy pretty much tears your credit up for around somewhere between 5 and 10 years, depending on the type of bankruptcy. So as long as that's not on there, this is the advice I give you to raise that score, because you already know people who need to raise their score means they've already gone through what it took to lower the score. So they've got that figured out. And you just got to change your habits. Whatever it was that caused it to go down, you can't do anymore. And now, here's what you can do. And the deal is, you have to have the discipline. Don't use that credit card for anything that you weren't going to just pay cash for right then and there anyway. That's the whole point. You're about to spend the money anyway, so you got it, and you have the discipline to put it away and pay the credit card off in full. That's what will make the score go. Your utilization is about 30% of your score, meaning you got 3 credit cards, they're each at $5,000 limits, but you only have 2,000 credit being used. That's 2,000 out of the 15,000, 3 cards at 5. That's your utilization. The lower your utilization means, okay, this person been approved for credit, but they're not using it. They're using a little bit of it right now, probably for whatever it is they need it for. So that's utilization. If, by the way, you had all 3 max, that's the opposite. That will have the opposite effect on your score, and watch it go down. Next is the length of your credit history. If you're young, you're just starting to establish a credit history. This is kind of against you a little bit until you get it established. And that's 15% of your score. Here's the big one. This is a big deal, because usually this just lowers your score. And what people accidentally have this happen to their score, it's 10% of your score, but it does give it a hit, is when you're checking out somewhere, Target, Sears, wherever, and they go, would you like 10% off your whole order? You get a credit card today, we'll take 10% off your whole order. And you say, yeah, and you just fill out a couple of things, you sign it, they quickly put it in, you got approved, 10% off your order. But what had happened is called a hard check, not a soft. A hard check on your credit, every time you have a hard check, it makes your credit score go down. Especially if you have 3 or more, it means this person's out shopping for credit, we don't know why, we don't know what's going on. That means there's a little more risk involved because something's going on. We're going to lower the score a little bit. And so they stay there, I think it's for about 2 years. And so while I was buying houses, I had these hard hits. But then 2 years go by, I'll see 1 or 2 all of a sudden disappear. Now I'm down to 3 instead of 5 or something. And your credit score has this jump up when they disappear after the 2 years. So that's how that works. By the way, if you're shopping for car insurance or house insurance, they do credit checks. It's called a soft check. It has no effect on the score. Every time you open up your Credit Karma, now tell me everybody has Credit Karma at this point. If you don't have Credit Karma, then there should be a deduction in your score this month. Get that app on your phone, and you're crazy not to have it. It costs absolutely nothing. And it does a soft check on your credit every so often. Because I haven't opened mine in a long time, I opened it recently just because I wanted to check it out again because it had been a while. And the date that it checked my credit was the date I just opened it, because I don't know how often, but I think it's like once a month or something. But because it had been maybe 3 months since I looked at it, it did it right then. So I'm getting the latest information. It applies a formula to that information that is almost exactly what the credit agencies use themselves. So when you look at credit card or Credit Karma's 2 credit scores, one from like one of the 3, Equifax or TransUnion or whatever the third one is, it's not your exact score, but it's darn close because the formula they're using is supposedly almost the exact formula being used by the credit agencies. Use that. Then, play with that app when you have time, just like you play with another app. Because in there are hints specifically related to your credit information to help you raise the score. There's all kinds of information as to how certain things that are on your report are affecting that score. And if somebody has never looked at their credit information, there's probably at least one item on there that's an error that's most likely hurting your score. And Credit Karma has all these directions how to correct that error, step by step. It's a great app. It's completely free. And when you decide to have passive income and you own this extra house and you want to rent it out, instead of doing it, trying to figure out how to do a credit check on the renters, you say, please download Credit Karma app. They open it up. You've got their credit score right there. They're showing you. You know it's real because they didn't have time to do anything to make it change. And when you're renting, you want to get credit scores. Credit scores tell you so much about how you're going to collect the rent. People are packing like it's time. Wait a minute, what time is this class over? Oh, we got time. What are you guys packing? Not just Jeremy, there's several people packing. So don't look so guilty there. All right, type of credits. The number of is 10% of your score. When they say type of credits, I think they mean whether it's credit card, whether it's a student loan, whether it's a car loan, student loan. We're going to get into what closed end and open end that is, not today, but it was on the list for today, but I'll bring it up next week. And that is 10% of your score, the kind of debt and what you have. Now, derogatory remarks is the worst thing you can have on there. And usually it takes place because you went into collections on something, or you went into bankruptcy, or you had a tax lien, or you defaulted on a student loan, and they're called derogatory marks, and that gets put into your credit score also, and such a negative effect, it's unbelievable, so that's why you want to avoid it. I also hope that by looking at your credit scores through Credit Karma, it motivates you to try to say, I want to get that as high as I possibly can. Matter of fact, if you open it up right now, and you can prove it's you, and it's over 800, I'll give you $1. I'll pay you $1 right now out of my pocket if you open it up and you've got an 800. I'll be that proud of you. And I know $1 doesn't seem a lot to you, but to me that's a lot. I worked hard for that $1.
You're so generous.
I'll make it 2 if it's you.
I don't have a credit score.
You open up Credit Karma, there's no score?
I don't have, I haven't.
Look at this as an opportunity.
I haven't gotten credit in anything.
Well, you haven't reached out for credit.
I don't have a job.
You don't have a student loan?
Not yet.
Oh man, now we all hate you.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna go to graduate school. I'm gonna have to get loans then.
Geez, as a matter of fact, I just saw some stats that the average student graduating from the University of Michigan Flint has $25,000 in student loan debt. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
They're showing Dearborn, Flint, and Ann Arbor's, and Ann Arbor's was like 40,000 people, something like that. I take that back. But the percent who had loans and student aid was significantly less, like less than half the percent of Flint and Dearborn. And this whole thing was about, let's have equity between the three campuses on how the money's distributed. There's so many more in need at the Flint and Dearborn campuses, and yet there's so many more of the endowment or scholarship money going to Ann Arbor and not to Flint and Dearborn, and blah, 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 blah. But some of the statistics about how much the average student has to take out in debt. I mean, I had a lot of debt when I graduated, and it was stressed right away. But it wasn't $25,000. Is that what you guys are heading towards? You know, that's significant. Your payment's going to be, I know they spread it over like 10 years, but your payment's going to be, you know, over $200 a month, easy. That's a car payment. Okay. So I guess, credit. We're going to slide 4 these last few minutes. Some of the advantages, I wrote some favorite ones down. Using a credit card is safer than carrying a whole bunch of cash. I just use cash so little. I carry some cash in my pocket, but I don't even think I carry $100 anymore. I used to always have like 200 or 300 because you never know. But, you know, now, the last 20 years, I use a credit card for 3 cookies at McDonald's. That's $1.06, and I'll use a credit card. I'll never use cash for anything. And believe me, 3 cookies for $1 at McDonald's are a great value. Are they not? Am I wrong? Is anybody? I think they're Otis Spunkmeyer or whatever they are. They're great.
Yeah, those
Try.
are pretty good.
Huh?
Those are pretty good.
Oh, you're kidding. Pretty good. Oh, I can live on it.
Don't
And
try.
so, it is easier to return merchandise on a credit card. Because if you don't have your receipt, it can be looked up. Like Kohl's is really good saying, did you charge on a credit card? Show us the credit card. Boom, they look it up, you got your receipt right there, you don't even have to bring your receipt. Huge advantages there. Also, I've been to, what's the competitor, Menards? Menards is all about what credit card, they have machines set up that say, put in the last 4 digits of your credit card, you go through and find your receipt, print it out right there, then return the merchandise, the machine's right next to where you return it, so you don't have to waste a bunch of time, I don't have my receipt, then they'll say, a lot of places will say, we'll only give you the sale price in return, since you didn't bring your receipt, in case you got it on sale, and you may have paid full price. So, convenience, easier to return things, all kinds of advantages. Now, the disadvantages I want to highlight, right here, temptation to overspend is the #1 disadvantage of having a credit card. I'll never forget, this was when we were young, my adopted brother and sister are much younger than I am. So I came home, I was living in Pennsylvania at the time, working for a company. I came home for Thanksgiving. We're sitting around the table, my little sister is in college, and she says, I got a credit card, and I'm still in college. And they gave me, I think it was $1,000. She said, I couldn't believe it. And she went out and bought all these things. And she goes, this was the greatest thing. And I said, how are you going to pay that back? And she looked at me like, what are you talking about? She had no idea that a credit card had to be paid back. That she thought this was something you get, and you get to charge things with, and you never have to pay it back. I don't know how that could be conceived, but, you know, the temptation, you got to know what credit cards are all about, you got to understand how to use it, and the temptation to use it, and that's why I'm saying only use it with something you're already going to pay cash for, because that's the same money that you were going to spend anyway that you had to spend. You had to get gas. You had to pay your cell phone bill, even though almost all of you were overpaid for the cell phone. You're paying more than $40 a month. And all these other things. So that's when you use the credit card to build a score up. That's the worst temptation. And the last one, no, I want to show you one more thing. It's on slide 5. I gotta go back. One more advantage I want to show you about credit cards is right there. Float time, grace period. When I said use that credit card to get gas, use that credit card to pay your cell phone bill, and when you get it, pay it off in full, it's because as long as you have a zero balance and you keep paying it off in full, I know you love these. I guarantee this is on the final. I know I skipped the last 2 quizzes talking about this. I guarantee it's on the final, though. I hope I don't eat my words. Remind me on the last lecture when I'm reminding you how to prepare for the final that this will be on it. One of these. But every one of these disclosures talk about it. They have to mention the grace period, the float, right here. In their case, it says 25 days. When you get your bill, the date it's due is usually about a week and a half to 2 weeks from the time you got your bill. and you charged what you're being billed for, you probably charged like almost 2 weeks ago, or more or less. And so that time from when you charged it to when you finally got paid your bill is usually about a month, around on average, maybe more. That's called the float time, because you've had their money all that time and not getting charged a penny in interest or fees of any kind. It's a free loan. But if you don't pay it off in full, the moment they realize you didn't pay it off in full on the due date, if it's late, the grace period ends, and everything gets charged interest at 15.24%, depending on if it's up or down at that time. Even the purchases you made and didn't pay, and you're making additional purchases because you didn't know that you didn't pay it off in full, and everything you're buying now is getting charged interest from the moment you use the card. And the only way to stop that interest is to pay it off in full without anything being charged. Or you gotta go, the next bill, and you go, wait, I've charged since then, you gotta go look at everything you charged and pay all of those in that, get it back to where it's paid in full, and you can start over again, you get a new grace period. But don't ever let you go out of the grace period. That's the whole point of this whole, only use it for things you're gonna pay for anyway. Just take advantage of the grace period. It's a free loan, a free loan again, a free loan again. Every time you pay off in full, you get another free loan, because you've already charged some stuff that's not even on the bill. All right, guys, we'll pick up from there on Monday next week. Have a great weekend. We only have 4 lectures left now. That's it.